Shalom, Yashrala. It's your brother Dawud down from GMS Tampa Bay 07, coming at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love to you. I can push in this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth. I don't want to get into this here quick lesson. Basically, just dealing with the times that we in right now. You know, it's kind of like it's almost a perplexing thing. You know, I was just out and about, not really out and about today, but just looking at the weather today. You know, down here in Florida, we should be, we don't really have a winter time here. We have about maybe 2 or 3 weeks of, a little coldness, which is around like January 12th, After that, we normally hot all the way through Christmas and into the New Year's. And then, January, around the second week of January, we cool down for a little bit for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then we start warming back up, And so the weather pretty much got me, thinking about certain things like, man, are we going, backwards in our seasons? What's going on here, Not only that, I just was pondering on all the other things that didn't happen since basically January, And what are we in? March, the third month of the year, in these 3 months we didn't have a lot of things happen already, a lot of things, We didn't had we didn't had all the signs in the sun and the stars, with all these different eclipses and just all these different things, the blood moons, the super blue moon with the eclipse, all these different things happening, Then you also have like I said, the strange weather, you have up north, you have all these what they call nor'easters and like basically snow blizzards and all kind of crazy stuff going on up there, Same on the west coast, you got different things going on over there as well, You got and throughout the whole U.S. you got massive flooding and all kind of just crazy things going on all throughout the U.S. with dealing with the weather, also dealing with just the people here, You have like here in Florida, we just had a couple of school shootings here. We've been having a lot of so-called mass shootings here in Florida, whether it be at the nightclub or at the school. And I believe there was another school shooting, I want to say here in Florida, either the same day as the last one or a couple of days later that wasn't really publicized that much. But, that's just an Esau on his media. But nevertheless, you got all these different things that's popping off right now, You also have North Korea, South Korea having talks together, Donald Trump he's talking about going to go meet Kim Jong-un, and these types of things. You have all kind of things going on where everything's kind of shook up, You have everything kind of out of order and everything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into some of these scriptures, and we'll touch back on some of these things as we go through these scriptures. So I'm going to actually start off with this here in the book of Psalms chapter 2. I'm going to start at the top. It says, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us." Okay, basically, I just want to throw this in here, the top hand part, because this is what these heathen doing. They come together trying to, they raging. What are they raging about? You got all these calamities that's going on out in the news and the media and things like that. Oh, Syria, North Korea, Russia, this and that. But in all actuality, a lot of that is just smoke screens just to put the children of Israel under, Because a lot of those countries, they're either Edomite countries or they're ran by the Edomites. So at the end of the day, they all got the same agenda, But they trying to exterminate the children of Israel, But they got to come up with some kind of facade or this or that, to make it seem like, oh, it's just we getting rid of these people, those people, You come up with the terrorist plot and Al-Qaeda and all that stuff, and, you get people used to people who hate America with big beards and religious people, So now when you see the children of Israel out there on the highways and byways prophesying and stuff, you would, relate those two together. You would, okay, this is the same thing, so we don't feel bad if the government roll on them, So it ain't had shit to do with the damn ISIS, Al-Qaeda, because, that's CIA, the CIA, that's what they do over there, If you want the breakdown of that, watch, I believe it's Iron Man 3 when they talk about the Mandarin. Or just Google search the Mandarin, Iron Man, the Mandarin. He breaks that down all day long. It's the same thing. Like, there's no breakdown needed. He breaks it down for you, But nevertheless, this is what these people doing, The heathen are raging and imagining a vain thing, They trying to basically thwart the plan of the Most High. The children of Israel is being raised back up. Yahweh Shah is about to return and take these kingdoms, But Esau, he don't want that to happen. So this is what they raging about. But we're going to go down to verse 4. It says, "He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision. So, this is something that makes the Most High laugh. You want to see the Most High laugh. It's these fucking heathen thinking, imagine this, you got these heathen out there training like Rocky, running and hitting fucking cows inside the freezer and shit like that, training this and that. Like, the Most High sitting over here laughing, like, all that training and shit you doing, getting your cardio and your endurance and all that up. Motherfucker, you trying to box with the Most High. Like, none of that shit you got going is going to help you out. All you doing is wasting your time and prolonging your death. That's something that the Most High is laughing at. Like, man, all this shit y'all over here doing, you just have no idea. Like, I got you in the ultimate setup, You just really don't even know. Like, you done told a person to go in the hole and start digging, and then you laugh at them like, man, they done dug so deep they can't get out the hole, But they still digging. You just laughing at their ass, This was making the Most High laugh, It says, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, Yahweh shall have them in derision, okay? Now, we're going to get into some of this derision. Like I said, you got a lot of this stuff going on right now in, America and all over the globe, And so we're going to get into some of these scriptures to kind of break it down. I'll let the scriptures speak. We're starting on the book of Isaiah, chapter 22, verse 4. It says, therefore said I, look away from me. Verse 5, Isaiah 22 and 5. For it is a day of trouble and of treading down and of perplexity by Yahweh power of hosts. In the valley of visions, breaking down of the walls and of crying to the mountains. Okay, and the crying to the mountains is where is that at? Let me think about it. Let me think real quick. Right here. This is Joel 3 and 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is at the northern part of Israel, close to the Syrian border, which that's where everybody's at right now in battle, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations of part of my land. So he says he's going to plead there. He says, I will plead with them there for my people. Okay, so going back over to Isaiah 22. Okay, and it says down here, it says, breaking down of the walls and the crying to the mountains. That's where the mountains represent these other nations, their governments and their power structures and stuff like that. Okay, the crying to the mountains, first and foremost, he didn't already called us back, but what it's talking about here is he's pleading with these other nations. Okay, basically, who is this that come from Edom, with their garments dyed red, coming from Basra, it's Yahweh Shah, basically, At this point in time, like you say, he's going to go down to the valley of Jehoshaphat and plead there for his people, okay? So it says, for it is a day of trouble and of treading down, okay? All these other nations being treaded down, and perplexity by Yahweh power of hosts, okay, in the valley of vision, okay? Now, the perplexity is where we wanted to get at, So all this that's happening right now is part of the perplexities that's going on, okay? And the different things that's happening. Let me get the next scripture to give you a little more background, because it'll give you the time and where we at, This is Luke 21 and 8. It says, and he said, take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, or Christ, and the time draweth near, go ye not therefore after them. Okay, I wanted to bring that out because, at this point in time, you're starting to see all these different Christian groups coming up against the Israelites. Okay, so what are they saying there? Oh, Yahushua ain't the real, ain't the real Savior. He's not the real deliverer. The real deliverer's name is Jesus Christ. He's this white man. This is who he is. So you have these people saying, no, y'all wrong. It's this, it's that. So right now, it's the biggest time you have a fight over who the Lord is. Anytime prior to this, you still had all these different religions or denominations of Christianity, even in other religions. They all still, how do you say, not reference, but they still acknowledge so-called Jesus Christ, that so-called white man like that, But now we're starting to bring out a whole different depiction of them and characteristics of them. Now everybody has a problem with that, Beforehand, when you had, the Baptists who said you had to be baptized, or the whatever the other type of denominations that was disagreeing on different things, nobody was disagreeing on who they was claiming is Jesus Christ, But now we bring out this doctrine. Now there's a big, you got all these Christians banding together to come against us, and trying to, quiet up the real revelation of Yahushua, okay? Verse 9, it says, but when you shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. So this is going into the wars and the rumors of wars, okay? And so also with the perplexity of nations. This is where we want to get at, the perplexity and the calamities of these nations and all this crazy shit just going on, Not just with the wars and stuff like that, but this is a part of it. You got these different nations, having calamities and perplexity about wars and, the bombing of Syria. Okay, now that's creating a refugee crisis. Okay, now you got these refugees coming into your lands, so-called, and now they becoming so-called terrorists and fucking up every damn thing, So this is causing so-called calamities and perplexities in these nations, just by going into war in Syria, But then you also have other things like North Korea. North Korea keep testing their missiles and this and that, and now aiming them out towards Japan, now putting Japan on high alert and making China's like, look, if, America, y'all attack North Korea, it's going to be some problems because we don't want no nukes falling over here by us. And North Korea, if you start doing some shit, we going to have to come and get y'all ass too, Putting China in a rough position. Russia kind of stuck in Syria. If Russia leaves Syria, then basically America going to basically try to move in all the way over there, which is going to put Russia at, at odds and ends. So Russia's pretty much stuck in a quagmire in Syria. They can't pull out, Pretty much how we got stuck in Iraq and you can't pull out of there because you see what the fuck happened. You take out leadership, then you lose control, okay? But nevertheless, these are these different calamities, Not only that, like I said, the weather that's going on crazy here. You got airplanes being stopped and high winds, down in airplanes and blizzards and shit that's cutting off, traffic and all kind of craziness going off, Like I said, down here, we looking at our weather, we have a thing down here called snowbirds. The people from up north come down here during their winter time because, like I said, here we only have about 2 weeks of somewhat cold where it'll get down to like, maybe mid-50s, Other than that, it's not really cold here, We get cold at 68 degrees, But other than that, now it's a strange time. Like, damn, it's like colder than our winter time right now. We're supposed to be warming up, You got all these different things going on, Let me keep reading because we're going to go back into some more of them. It says, verse 10. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation. Okay, now the nation against nation is talking about more or less different races. Okay, you see in Jacob versus Esau, more or less to say. Okay, with these different things is rousing Jacob. I guess that Black Panther movie, Birth of a Nation, the Dylan Ruth situation, all these, the Sandra Bland situation, Mike Brown situation. You seeing these things pop up, And then it says kingdom against kingdom. Now, what is that talking about? Okay, so I'll give you a prime example. The Russians and the Americans, they both Edomites, okay? So it's not talking about two different races warring at each other, but that's just two different kingdoms, okay? You got, the Edomites over here versus the Edomites over there, okay? Same deal. And it says, verse 11, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. Now, this is something crazy, because I watch, as well as just the regular news updates, on alternative media, I get, clips put together and just watch it like that. But nevertheless, there's also another stream that I watch where it's pretty much just the weather, strange weather and calamities. And if you watch those videos day after day, every day there's a new video, it's just like the regular news. They just update, every day from different weather all the way around the world. Every single day there's a new earthquake. First of all, we're going to just forget about the earthquakes for now. You see massive floodings, landslides, tsunamis, rains, volcano eruptions, all kind of crazy shit going on all over the world, right? Then when it goes into the earthquakes, there's a, I can't think of the website, it's like the earthquake clock, where you can look at the earthquakes, it'll tell you like, all right, it's been X amount of earthquakes today, X amount of earthquakes this week, X amount of earthquakes this month, X amount of earthquakes this year, okay? Now, if you go back and you start looking, I forgot what the date was, when the date was, but you can start back before 2001, okay? But I believe it was around 2012 or like 2013, 14, or 15, around then. Somewhere around there is when these earthquakes, man, it was tremendous. Like you might have would have had like 100 earthquakes in a whole year, right? And then on this new chart, not new chart, but on this clock, it'll tell you like, shit, we didn't have 100 earthquakes today alone in just one fucking state. Not even counting on the other states, So we normally would have in a whole year, some places, like a single state is getting just that many earthquakes, what we would have in a whole year, you know? Not to mention all the other earthquakes alone in America, not to mention all the other earthquakes going on around the world, you know? There's earthquakes day in, day out. Now, a lot of these earthquakes, like it says, great earthquakes, is destroying infrastructure, buildings, old buildings, you know? There was one out in there in Italy. All these old buildings that was out there, all of them starting to come down and stuff like that. You're seeing this, you know, all these earthquakes that was dormant for hundreds of years, you know, we started to break all these records, you know. We hadn't had a flood like this in the last 150 years. We hadn't had this earthquake over here, this size and this location for the last 150 years. We hadn't had a super moon or these type of eclipses like this in 100-some years. You know, everything now is breaking these so-called 100-year records and all these different things going on, you know. The Most High is showing these signs vividly that's going on right now. There's perplexity and calamities going on everywhere, you know. I mean, if I just want to talk about the perplexity of just the animals and ecosystem, all the animals dying, mass migrations, movements of them. We could just talk about that. We could just talk about any part of the weather, from the damn floodings, the droughts, the rains, the earthquakes, the fires, the blizzards, you know, any of those, we could talk about them solo, you know. Then you could talk about just the wars themselves, you know. Then you could talk about the mindsets of the people. You know, you got all these people now going around having these so-called massive shootings. You got these families turning on each other, wanting to kill each other, you know. Regular people is fighting inside these nations. Nobody can't get along with nobody. Everybody's getting dumber by the second, you know. Demons are infesting more and more people nowadays. You're seeing more and more perverse people walking around. Like, we was at camp that one damn day. You had this motherfucker walking around in some pink panties and a pink wig. A grown-ass man. You know what I'm saying? A couple years ago, man, just me growing up, you know what I'm saying? A couple years ago, I would have seen I would have been expecting somebody, the first motherfucker, to beat his ass. Like, you setting a bad example for everybody. You know? You seeing all kind of crazy shit like this popping off. And you're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, did the whole world just, like, start, like, sniffing some retarded powder or some shit like that? You know, everything is going crazy. You know, from the people to the weather, the actual earth itself, you know, everything, you know, these nations, wars, right? Let me get back into the scriptures. Verse 11 again. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, meaning in a whole bunch of different places. Again, look up the earthquake clock or the earthquake counter. Just Google search that, see if you can find it. And famines and pestilence. Okay, you seen all these people starving and people can't get food, like in Venezuela and stuff like that, okay? That's the famines out there going on. You see that's going on over there in Mexico and all these other places they can't eat, you know. These countries going bankrupt and stuff like that, okay? And pestilence, you know, you start to see these flu viruses and people getting sick and all kind of things like that. Not just that, you also have overflow of refugees and all kind of things like that. Anything that's a pestilence into you, you know. It's like that fly that's flying around your head is being a pest, you know. And fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Yeah, these eclipses, these super moons, all these different signs, so many of them, so many back to back. You know, when you think about it, all that stuff in the sky is more or less like a clock. You know, they on schedule. You know, this is how they can predict. They can go back and predict what the moon was like, and they can tell you the moon phase down the road 50 years from now, because it's a clock. It's in, you know, it's in a rotation. It's like you know, every 60 seconds on your regular clock, your watch, you know, your minute hand is going to move, you know. You can calculate that, okay, in 120 seconds, this minute hand is going to move two different spaces, you know. That's just the calculation of how it moves, the mechanics of it, you know. But how is it all of a sudden now you're getting all these damn eclipses and all these signs in the heavens like this? Like, wait a minute, this ain't supposed to be lapping up over and over and over and over and over again, back to back to back, especially on these high holy days and things like that, you know. These are all signs of the Most High. That's what he says when you put it up there. These are going to be signs for you, you know, from generation to generation. All right? It says, verse 12, but before all these they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and in the prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. Okay? And we're starting to see that slowly starting to happen. Like I said about ISIS, they pre-program you to, they already got it on the law books, you know. Look up the King Alfred Plan, Rex 84. Look up Project Megiddo. Okay, all these things, and there's another one where they pretty much have, I mean, they label it different in different things, but all together it's coming out to the Israelites. Like Project Megiddo they label it the Black Hebrew Israelites, okay? King Alfred plan is targeting so-called black people. Rex 84 is targeting so-called Hispanics, but they don't call them Israelites in those two groups. So when you put them all together, you be like, all right, well, either you're an Israelite or you're a black person or a Hispanic person. Either way, we rounding your ass up. You know, and this is what they're talking about. Okay, when that martial law comes into play, and it shall turn to you for testimony. Hang on, we're gonna skip down for time's sake. And you shall be, verse 16, and you shall be betrayed both by parents and brother and kinfolks and friends, and some of you shall they cause to put to death. And, you know, and some of you brothers, you starting to see this now. You starting to see, you know, divisions inside your household, you know. I mean, I know I'm starting to see this in my own household, my own stuff, you know. Certain relatives, you know, that I was particularly close with and really didn't have anything to deal with them on, you know. Starting to find that, you know, man, I don't really want to even be bothered around you because, I mean, I got something way more important on my plate that I know you ain't going to understand, you know, this truth, you know. This is way more important than that little petty shit you got and you talking about anyway, you know. I'm more worried about this than all that other stuff. And I already know that, you know, what the scriptures say, you know, and I try to tell you that, man, this is more important than that little bullshit you talking about, you know. Then we got more strife, you know. Just fuck it, you know. So you starting to see these lines being drawn, you know. Verse 17, and you should be hated of all men for my name's sake, but there shall not a hair of your head perish. Okay, just like a couple weekends ago when we had that one bug out, Jake try to basically come up and kill us. You know, he pulled a knife on us and he talking about, hey, I'm about to slice y'all niggas up. You know, this is what happened for no reason. This dude just came up. You know, we was talking to somebody else and he come up trying to threaten us. You know, left came back down the block. You know. You see this with all these other camps, the other camps happening, you know, the other camps, this is starting to increase their camps as well, too, you know. But like you saw on tape, it says, but there shall not a hair of your head perish, okay? We're going to jump down 25, verse Luke 21 and 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, okay? That's those eclipses and all those things I was telling you about, the super blue moon and all these crazy things that, you know, hadn't happened for so many years, you know, hundreds of years and stuff like that, you know. And upon the earth, distress of nations were perplexity. Yeah, refugee crisis, war crisis, water crisis, food crisis, bankruptcy crisis, all kind of different crises. And every nation on the planet Earth got some kind of crisis going on in their nation. Every last one of them. There's not one, not one that's just, oh no, everything hunky go dory over here. We profiting the most right now while everybody else is fucked up over there, you know? It's like you a dope man and you got all these other dope men when everybody else is all sold the fuck out, you know, the police that rounded all them up, you know? The police round up all your competition. You the only one left. You should be booming, okay? But there's no country right now that's just booming right now, you know? Everybody's a little fucked up right now. You got all these perplexities and calamities going on, all right? Verse 26, men's heart fell on them for fear for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. Yeah, the economic collapse, you know, the stock market losing all these points, you know, people losing their jobs and this and that and all kind of things, you know, the nuclear alarm going off in Hawaii and all these things going on, you know, people just going crazy, wilding the fuck out. They don't know how they're going to pay their bills and this and that. All kind of crazy shit going on, you know. And then they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and great glory. Okay? And when you see these things begin to come to pass, look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh. Now we're talking about seeing the Son of Man coming in the clouds with power and glory. We starting to see that with these chariot sightings increasing. More and more people, now they being forced to talk about it. Before we was just the crazies talking about it, but now the fucking government is coming out about it. You know, the government who always say we never going to talk about this. They're being forced now to talk about it because you can't keep it a secret no more, you know? How was it there? Let me grab two more scriptures we can go ahead and close out. Hold on. I'm going to finish off in Luke 21. It says, and Luke 21 and 19, it says, he spake to them a parable. Behold, a fig tree and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. Okay? So basically the analogy he's saying is like, look, bruh, whenever you see whatever you done planted starting to bud, you know it's that season. So if you know, tomatoes or roses blossom in this season, when you start to see these shits starting to blossom, you know, whatever season they blossom in, you know? So you start to see certain signs. When you see your damn tires starting to get a little bald, you know it's time to goddamn get new tires. When you see that little yellow or orange light come on with the little gas tank sign in your car, you know you're about to run out of gas. You need to go get gas. So when you see these signs, you know it's a certain time, okay? It says, verse 31, so likewise, when you see these things come to pass, what things? The things we just read about, these calamities, perplexities, all right? When you see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of Yahweh is nigh at hand, okay? Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled, okay? Now we're going to go into the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 29. Oh, no. Let me go to 14. Yeah, Proverbs 6 and 14. Forwardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord. Yeah, that's what Esau is doing. All these lies and all the shit that he be coming up with, you know. One of the things I thought about today, you know, it was kind of chilly out here. Like, damn, whatever happened to that so-called global warming? I feel like we're cooling off, like, kind of, you know. He's sowing discord, you know, but all these calamities, everything that he's talking about is coming back to bite him in his ass, you know. Verse 15, therefore shall his calamities come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. Okay? That's like what we read in the book of Job, talking about in the fullness of his sufficiency. You know, basically he's gonna vomit up all his riches. You know, he's gonna come to naught right at that time. You know, right when he's about done, he's gonna basically vomit up everything he didn't scoff down. You know, when he's over here devising his mischief and sowing discord. You know, everything gonna start unraveling. You know, at that point in time when you got everything damn near full. This is the last scripture we're gonna bring out. We're gonna close out after this. This is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 26. Verse 25. Proverbs 1 and 25. But you have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. Okay? I mean, now Esau gonna be a reprobate regardless. You know what I'm saying? He's just gonna be a reprobate. He ain't gonna listen. You know what I'm saying? That's just him. You know, this, you know, going for Esau and also with our own people. You know, 2/3 gonna get put to death for the same ass thing. You know, what is that? John 3 and verse 19, I believe. Here's the condemnation that light is coming to the world, but basically, you rather stay in the darkness than come to the light. At least your deeds be reproved. You know, that you be exposed. You know. Proverbs 1:25 again. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. Yeah, like the land Sabbaths and all this and that, which got Esau and all these calamities and shit like that. You know, verse 26. I will also laugh at your calamities, and I will mock when your fear cometh. Okay, so this is what the Most High is laughing at again. He's like, I'm gonna laugh at your calamities, and I will mock when your fear cometh. Okay, when your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you. Okay. You know, again, like I said, this is more or less talking about our people and stuff like that, but same going with Esau. Esau, hey, he was proud, talking about he had this and had that, everything under control, but, hey, all these calamities is about to come upon you, and the Most High said he's going to laugh when, you know, your calamities come. We're going to close back out where we started at. This is Psalms chapter 2. This is Psalms 2 and 1. Why do the heathens rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Yeah, that they in control and everything gonna keep going on like they want it to go on. I'm gonna jump down to verse 4. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, and Yahweh shall have them in derision. Okay? Yeah, see, the Most High's got all this set up, you know. Esau that set a snare for his own stuff, and now, you know, Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that followeth. You know, the Most High had all this set up. You know, Esau was fitted for destruction. You know, he was created for that day of vengeance, you know. And this is the time that we at, like the scriptures say, look, when you see all these things, you know, look up for your salvation draweth nigh, you know. So within all these perplexities and calamities and all this chaos that's going on out there, you know, these are good times, you know, like the Elder Apostle Tahar announced this year being the year of prophecy. We only in the third month. You see all this stuff just is, hey, it's right there. It's pushing. You know what I'm saying? You see all these things coming to pass. You know what I'm saying? It's like the scripture say, look up for your salvation draweth nigh, you know? You know, so this is a prime time. You know, what manner of conversation should you be, you know? Knowing that all these things are going to be dissolved and melted away, roughly paraphrasing, you know? We at the end of this. It's time to lock in, you know, stay on fire for this truth and you know what I'm saying? Like, how you say, stay focused for the last stretch, you know? We in for the last stretch. We almost home, baby. Stay strong, you know? Shalom.